On Valentine's Day, the film begins. A man and a woman are seen entering a restaurant. And he just got divorced a few days ago. Sandy is his daughter's name. Her age was almost the same as the girl in front of him. He is talking of his growing rich all time, which irritates that girl. She goes to lavatory making an excuse and gets rid from him. As she goes, he checks his cell where Sandy has left the 12 missed bells. He ignores them, but Sandy herself reaches there. He tells to Sandy that he has come for a business meeting, but Sandy is actually not here to detect him. She seems upset and disturbed. And it should be. Because she was very angry from his father on divorce. On it, she orders Cupid. But she is repenting now. Cupid had killed her mother along with all of her friends. Hearing it, her father takes her outside furiously, where he meets the same girl who was with him. She is leaving that place. Before she goes, a coming arrow from the sky stabs in her eye and she is dead there. They view the flying Cupid in the sky. They run to forest rescuing their lives. Reaching in the forest, they take them safe, but Cupid arrives there within a time. First, he attacks on Sandy's father leg with arrow, consequently he falls on the ground. After that, he strikes Sandy's head on the same arrow. So both are died at that moment. Killing them, he pulls out the heart of Sandy's father. Now, the appearance of Cupid is shown here with this demon's different actions. Then the story is shown 1 year later. The time is of 2 days ago of Valentine's Day. There the girl named Faye is shown, who is practicing the black magic. She used to like her school teacher Duncan and speak magical words to gain him performing the different rituals so he may start loving her. But Duncan used to like his colleague Helen. They were together in school. Upon arriving there, a teacher informs Duncan that a student has gum stuck in their hair. Faye was that girl whose hair had the sticky chewing gum. She was trying to remove chewing gum from her hair, taking the help of his friend Mate. Her class fellow Alaic has stuck this chewing gum in her hair, keeping a reason behind it. Faye's father is died before 1 year and her mother's affair is with Alaic's father now. According to Alaic, Faye's mother is the cause of her parents' separation. So she exacts vengeance on Faye. Duncan learns from Faye that this mischief is the work of Alaic. Meeting Alaic, Duncan guides her, but Alaic was not such a girl to understand easily. While teaching in his class, Duncan asks a question from Alaic. Alaic surely does not know the answer, so the whole class including Faye starts laughing at her. Alaic minds it. Faye thinks as her black magic is affecting because Duncan was becoming friendly towards her. Alaic steals the cell of Duncan. And returning from school to house, she sends a message to Faye from this mobile. Faye thinks that her words has affected and Duncan is in love with her. She also replies him feeling happiness. But she had never thought that what could Alaic do with her. Alaic calls her for meeting after classes. And Faye agrees. Alaic asks a photo from her. On it, Faye sends a selfie to her after making. But she demands more, so Faye sends an uncivilized photo to her. Seeing it, Alaic and her other friends are making fun of her. Faye finds a letter and rose in the locker next day. She feels happiness finding it. But it is also placed by Alaic. She is excited to meet Duncan. Her friend Mate comes to her and asks about the ball of Valentine's Day on coming day. But Faye rejects. On the other side we come to know that Alaic is making a plan. She calls Faye in Duncan's office at that time when he will check papers alone there. And Alaic will make their video which she can upload on internet. Faye reaches in Duncan's office as the classes are over. On the other side, Elsie is also recording it all. And Faye is conversing Duncan as such as she was on the messages. Duncan experiences Faye's odd behavior, so he says her to leave. But Faye vulgarizes the scene, but understanding nothing, Duncan keeps Faye away. Recording everything, Alaic leaves that place. Faye is hurt and also leaves. She checks her black magic book, either she has missed anything. And she also finds the completion of spell, but there was still a remain spell. And it was the call to those who destroy the love. Faye is much worried but still avoid to use this spell. Next day is the Valentine's Day. And Faye also receives a card, but she does not know about the sender. So she tears it. At the same time, Duncan is also in the classroom. and video is played in which that scene was also playing. Seeing it, Faye flees from there. And Duncan is also gone worried. He might be suspended due to this. Coming outside from the class, Faye sees those photos which she had sent to Duncan's cell. Alec comes outside with her friends and adds fuel on fire. But now the anger of Faye was unbearable for her, so she slaps Alec. And there is a tussle between them. Both teachers resolve the issue coming there. And Duncan cancels their Valentine's Day ball. Going in a class, Faye summons the evil Cupid. Evil Cupid asks the reason of call. Faye asks it to destroy the love in the whole school. It hears her wish and says that love will begin to vanish after Valentine's Day. Faye, on the other hand, claims that she wishes to eradicate evil forever. It asks her either she knows the upshots. She replies yes while telling a lie because she does not know anything. Fulfilling her wish, it is disappeared from there. Faye and Alec are called in the office by principal. They get punishment to undecorate the decoration of Valentine's Day ball. Miss Helen leads them to the dancing hall. But there was her friend who is in the lavatory at that time. And then Cupid shows up. She hears a sound and tries to detect it by focusing her ear. At the same time Cupid frees its arrow which exactly strikes on her ear. She runs from there crying. And it pulls her skin out in heart shape after catching her. On the other side, they reach at Ball Hall along with Maid who was there to help Faye. There they observe the kept heart-shaped cookies which are eaten by them. And their taste is felt like the chicken by them. Alec receives the call of her beloved who is waiting for her outside the school. He has come to take her. Miss Helen stops her to go but Elsie leaves that place. That teacher immediately informs the principal. Principal asks him to stop but she hurriedly sits in the car coming outside. She was thinking her free but there was not as such. Their car was not starting. Coming there, principal stands in front of the car and asks them to get off the car. Miss Helen is observing everything. Suddenly they view something in the sky. It was Cupid who does not let them think and darts its arrow in the eye of the principal. Experiencing it, Elsie and her beloved run from there. But Cupid also darts 2 arrows on her beloved. Helen goes to Duncan telling that her mobile is not working. The same case is also with Duncan. His mobile is also inoperative. They are not understanding what they had seen in the sky so they cannot share it to anyone. But seeing the condition of Brit, they detect the danger. And Faye also understands the committed mistake by her. She had wished to annihilate love, but had no idea that Cupid would kill all. While checking Brit, Duncan observes the poison which is coming out of that place of arrow. That poison had traveled to his heart, expanding in the whole body. Duncan sends all his students and teachers from there to prevent anxiety. Duncan tries hard to save his life but fails and Brit dies there. On the other hand, they all arrive at the ballroom. And they notice something unusual, such as someone's heart beating rapidly on the screen. Faye and Maid are not present there but outside. Maid asks from Faye that what is going on here? Because he was doubting on Faye as she knows something about it. But she does not reveal the fact and both come in the hall. Cupid is after them as he brings out his arrow, all run from there. They all separate with one another. Cupid kills a teacher and while saving her, arrow is pricked into the hand of Mate. Then Faye escapes taking him. Alec and her friend enter in the lab. Where they look at Faye's black magic book. And they understand that Faye is the cause of it. One of Alec's friends detaches her and Cupid also kills him finding the chance. It thrusts the roses into her neck. Mate's hand was spreading poison putting him on the dying condition. Before dying, he tells to Faye that Valentine's Day card was sent by him which she received. And he tells that he likes her from the 5th grade. But she did not see anyone except Duncan. Faye knows it all and tells that he is like her younger brother. Finding the dead body of Lena, they all know about the material of heart cookies. Shortly thereafter, Duncan and Helen also arrive at the scene. Upon seeing Mate's condition, Duncan exclaims, "I can save his life." They all move to science laboratory where Elsie reveals that Faye is the cause of everything. Faye also confesses that she has called Cupid using the black magic. Now Faye is responsible of dying Mate. Elsie and her friend leave to search their 2 other friends. For the safety of Mate's life, Duncan decides to detach his hands so that poison may not travel to his heart. Elsie and her friend reach in the ball hall where Cupid attacks on them. Elsie escapes leaving her friend there. And Cupid slays him. Duncan saves the life of Maid cutting his hand. Here Faye confesses that how did she use the black magic for winning the love of Duncan. Ignoring everything, Duncan asks that how can we stop Cupid? Faye tells Cupid cannot be stopped. He will leave as the Valentine's Day is over. Duncan sees that 10 minutes were remained for the ending of the Valentine's Day. For 10 minutes they had to hide themselves in order to save their lives. But it was tough situation. Duncan and Faye go outside taking something for Mate. They meet Elsie there. In this duration, Cupid comes to Helen. Hearing the crying of Helen, they come back hurriedly. Searching Helen, they enter in the ball hall where Cupid was nearly to kill Helen. Faye has not other way, so he calls again the owner of death. Faye instructs all to not look into the eyes of it. If it happens, it will capture the soul of that person taking with him. Faye orders it to end everything here. On it, he demands a sacrifice. Duncan tells, 2 minutes are left and we can save our lives easily. On it, owner of death says that 2 minutes are enough to kill all presented people in the hall. Faye offers herself as a sacrifice. Elsie turns her neck and looks into Cupid's eyes at this time. As a result of his murder, Cupid takes Elsie with him. And the clock strikes 12 and the sacrifice is also fulfilled. Valentine's Day is over. And Cupid leaves. Suddenly, Elsie wakes up but Faye hits a book on her face fearfully. It hits on the arrow and causes her death. Afterward, Helen takes Mate to hospital while Faye apologizes Duncan. And Duncan expresses his love, and the Faye's love spell begins to work. It is the climax of the story.